Jared from Southern Homesteads here. Hey, before we get started on today's video, hit the subscribe button. And in the comments, let us know what you think. Let us know if you're running any nail guns and your opinion on them. So today we are going to go ahead and do a video that we have really waited a long time to do. And the reason we waited a long time to do it was we wanted to get enough nails for each one of these guns for me to be able to say, hey, this one's good and this one's bad. And I'll tell you, I'm really grateful that we did. So today we're going to look at basically all three of the battery powered guns that are on the market today that are out there competing. We've got the Milwaukee. This is the brushless fuel. We have the Dewalt 20 volt, and we've got the Metabo HPT. Now, these are all a 20 degree nailer, and quite frankly, the reason the pass load, which is the gas-driven nailer, is not in this group is they don't have a 21 degree. They have a 30 degree, and that is not what we run for framing nails. So these are all battery powered. We work in a lot of off-grid places, and for pickup work or smaller jobs, nothing beats battery powered in my opinion in today's world. Going into this, I want to just disclose my own bias. If you see into our work trailer and some of the other videos, what you will notice is I have an absurd amount of Dewalt stuff. I don't own one of these guns. I own 3 of these guns. Now, that being said, hang out till the end. I think you're going to be shocked by the results. First and foremost, let's start with the Dewalt. I will tell you, this gun is comfortable in the hand with a battery in it. It is balanced amazingly well. When we weighed it, it weighed in at 8 pounds, 11 ounces, which is going to be the lightest. That's no nails, no battery. But that's going to be the lightest out of the 3 guns. It's got some great features to it. You can choose whether you're going to rapid fire one of these guns or bump fire or do a single fire. So the Dewalt gun is a little bit different than the firing on the other 2. And that is when you pull the trigger, you hear a flywheel wind up in this. And some people don't like it. I actually like it because it lets me know that the gun is charged and ready to go. But it does take a little bit getting used to. Now, the bump fire feature on it, one of the things I love that Dewalt did is if I pull the trigger and wind it up, I can hit multiple nails and just keep going. It will fire as fast as I can move that gun. Now, also in the bump fire mode, if I'm in a place where I'm hanging a sheet of OSB and I'm trying to just get one nail in where it needs to go before I bump fire, I can simply push it in, pull the trigger, and it will single file. So in bump fire mode, it will allow me to do either one, and that is a huge feature for us. Now, moving on to the Milwaukee nail gun, and I will tell you, out of the 3, as far as cool looking, hands down, this is my favorite. This gun looks amazing. It is heavy. When we weighed this, it is at 10 pounds, 5 ounces. And so we're saying it's 1.5 pounds more than that Dewalt gun. That doesn't sound like a lot until you use one all day. And I will tell you, it is not a fan favorite for that reason. Now, some features that I love about this Milwaukee, it's got a rafter hook, which is great. It also has the belt hook. Now, the firing on this Milwaukee gun is a little bit different than the Dewalt. It does not have that flywheel that winds up. Get a battery in this. Now, one of the things I do want to point out in the Dewalt too, the Dewalt, when you put a battery in it, it's on. It's done. Just hit and fire. The Milwaukee actually has an on-off button, and I will tell you that has become a place of frustration for me because you grab a gun, you don't think about it, you've got something held in a precarious spot, and you pull the trigger and nothing happens, and you have to stop and reset. So with that, I'm guessing there's some kind of parasitic drain on these, which is why they've put an on and off button. The Metabo also has it. but is something I definitely favor the Dewalt on. Now, just like the Dewalt, if we select multi-nail fire or bump fire, it will allow me. You notice I pull the trigger and nothing happens. There's no wind up here, but every time I drop that, it's going to drop a nail. Now, one of the other great parts about this Milwaukee is just like that Dewalt. If I just need a single fire and I'm on bump mode, I can push it in and pull the trigger and it will allow me to single fire. And that is huge when you're working out there. So all in all, from a firing perspective, Milwaukee's a great gun, drives nails very, very well. Moving on to the Metabo. Now the Metabo weight-wise was right in between. This was a 9-pound, 6-ounce gun. And these are all, just so you know, the nails we're test firing here, these are all ring shank exterior grade nails, which is all we run is ring shank exterior grade nails. So, and that could be for a different video on why that is. But the Metabo, the same. It's got an on-off button. And I will tell you, it's buried up underneath here. Get that turned on. It's also got a mode button up under there. Unlike the Milwaukee button is very easy to see and works as a great reminder. The Metabo, where it's hidden, I got to be honest with you, every time we swap a battery, we forget to turn the thing back on. If you leave it sitting for lunch and you come back, they're powered off and you've got to start all over again. But weighing in at 9 pounds, 6 ounces, so this is a full pound lighter than the Milwaukee. Now, we're on bump mode with the Metabo, and if you notice, just like with the Milwaukee, there is no wind up, nothing happens there, it just fires. Now, unlike the Milwaukee, if I just push it in and pull the trigger and need a single fire, it will not do it. So when you go to bump fire mode, it will not shoot a single nail. You have to come in and bump fire. In order to get a single nail, I have to stop, get the mode button back, and then do it. Now, once I'm into that mode, I cannot bump fire. And I will tell you, it's one of the misses that I believe that Metabo has on this. Now, as far as a rafter hook goes, Metabo gives you a swing around rafter hook, which is pretty nice. It'll hook to your belt. It also will swing around, and I will say, as big as this is, one of the things I appreciate about it is a lot of times we're working with rough cut lumber, so it'll be a true 2-inch board. This one will hang over the top of that, where the Dewalt will not. So, good in that fashion. As far as comfort and feel, I will say it's okay. It's a little bit side-weighted, and you don't notice it when you first pick it up, but all in all, not a bad gun. Now, comparing the three on some stuff that I would say is totally equal. We are running Everbright nails in these. Now, we have run a couple of different kinds of nails in two of the guns. We've run the Metabo and the Everbright nails, and I saw absolutely no difference. In the Dewalt, we have run Metabo, Everbright, and Dewalt nails in this per a recommendation by Dewalt, and we noticed no difference in the firing of any of these guns. All of these guns will accept one rack of nails. They will not accept a second rack like a lot of pneumatic nailers. And the truth is, with the weight on these, I don't know that you would want to carry a second rack. Now, Milwaukee does offer an extended rack that will hold two, but I will tell you from my experience, the weight of this Milwaukee is already almost unmanageable, and I can't imagine adding a longer rack to that and a second rack of nails to it. So you're reloading a little bit more often than you would with a pneumatic nailer. For us, not a big deal. Battery life. Now, that is a little bit of a trick question for us because, like I said, we've got a whole trailer full of Dewalt tools. So I'm able to grab a 60-volt battery in the Dewalt, and it runs great. I'm able to put, we've got some of the smaller PowerShot batteries in there, and they work fine. And it really, really varies, but I would say on average, on a 5 amp hour battery, you know, we'll get a half a day of framing out of one before the battery has to be swapped. And I would say, so from a battery life perspective, I would say all of them have been pretty consistent. Now, I don't have the same variety of batteries for the Metabo or for the Milwaukee. So the Milwaukee's simply running a 6 amp hour battery. That's all we have in Milwaukee. And the Metabo is running the 4 amp hour battery. And again though, but I will say, for us, I would say that the battery life on all of them has been pretty consistent, and all of them are pretty good. Now, let's get into the ugly and why we've waited so long to put this video out. Again, if you asked me right now to rate these guns just on my initial comparison and my initial firing of all 3 of them, I will tell you it was simple. The Dewalt wins. I will tell you a little time has definitely altered the opinion on that. I would say out of those, the Metabo probably would have been a second, and a very distant second, and the Milwaukee would have been the third, my third choice. Now, that being said, the Milwaukee only became the third choice originally based on its weight. It is heavy. After running these, all of these guns have had at least 1 box of nails through them. And I'm going to start with the Dewalt gun. Again, I don't have one of these guns. I have 3 of these guns. And one of my guys has one of these guns. And I will tell you, I will never buy another one. To the surprise of most people, these consistently offer problems. They jam about every 10th nail. We have found when you get to the bottom of a rack, when you get to something down like this, that if you put another rack in and just reload your gun, we got a 50-50 shot on whether it's going to throw a jam into that gun. Now, when this jams, we have to disassemble the head, remove it. It's a several minute process to do that just to get back to where you were. We have consistently had problems with these DeWalt guns, and that's not just one gun, that's all 4 of them. And I will tell you some of my own personal disappointment and frustration when we really started, because originally about the first half a box of nails, man, the DeWalts were amazing. And we had no problems. I contacted DeWalt and we started having problems. And the answer to DeWalt was we should be running DeWalt nails. And I'll tell you, I've got a few issues with that. Number 1, DeWalt nails are hard to come by in my area. Number 2, it doesn't, a gun that is going to be super specific, that is going to be for super general things like framing, I need to be able to walk in. If we run out of nails, I need to be able to walk into any big box store or any local hardware store and buy a box of nails. I can't spend all day searching for a box of DeWalt nails, which were significantly more expensive. But we did run them, and I will tell you, the results were no different. Now you could say, hey, you know, those guns already had other nails in there. So let me bring you to the second conversation with DeWalt. I called DeWalt in utter frustration because these guns are expensive, and said, look, I've got a couple of them. They are giving me problems. There's nothing. This is how I wound up with the third. DeWalt told me that I needed to ship it to a service center, 6-month-old gun, ship it to a service center. I had to agree to pay $140 plus the shipping, and if they deemed it was their fault that the guns didn't operate correctly, then they would refund the money. As you can imagine, my dissatisfaction with that, and I went round and round and round on the phone with DeWalt for almost 2 hours. I have used DeWalt tools for almost 25 years. I have an entire trailer full of them. And it wasn't until I threatened to take that money and use it on a down payment on another one that DeWalt said, oh, you know what, since you're a loyal customer, we will go ahead and send you a complimentary nail gun and just throw the other one in the trash, which is what I have done. The problem is the nail gun that they sent functioned no better than the one that we have gotten rid of. And so we consistently, from a user perspective, was always our favorite to pick up. It's balanced well, the weight is well. Whoever designed this has used a tool in their hand. From a functionality perspective, it's a total miss. Milwaukee While hands down it is the coolest looking of the guns, it is, I will tell you, the weight on this thing is a problem. It is so heavy. And if you were shooting 1 or 2 nails, you would be fine. If you're planning on framing some walls, this thing really starts to fatigue you in the end. And the swing from the Dewalt to the Milwaukee is about 2 pounds. Now, the Milwaukee originally started and fired flawlessly until we got about a half a box of nails in. And once we got a half a box of nails in, the Milwaukee was struggling with the same issue. When you get down to a smaller clip and you go to reload, which is about every 10 nails, you have a problem, and a lot of times it will jam. Now, the Dewalt, when the Dewalt will jam, you have to disassemble the whole head, like we showed you there, and take it apart. Now, I will say the Milwaukee, at least when it jams, it just sends a nail out that's bent, and you can continue to fire on. Still frustrating, especially if you're on something that's going to be seen in the end. If you're putting up some rough cut that's going to be finished, you've got some marring now on the surface of it, but consistently jamming. And this gun right now has about 1.5 boxes of nails through it. It has done it since about a half a box of nails, and it's been consistent in that. The Metabo, again, same. 1 rack of nails is all it will fit. I will tell you, it's got a little bit shorter nail carrier on it, and I'm kind of grateful for that. If I can only get 1 rack of nails in anyways, there's no point in me carrying the weight of a longer rack. And so the Metabo, all in all, weight-wise, it's not as comfortable or as light as that Dewalt, but not bad. It is functional, it is usable. I will say, I guess in an overall assessment of the Metabo, everything is mediocre. Except for the fact it never jams. I have run about 2 boxes of nails through this gun as we sit right now. We have run the 2 3/8 nails and the 3 1/4 nails, which is the only 2 nails that we typically run. It has never jammed. It has never failed to fire. Now, when I say all in all, the gun is mediocre. Issues like having to choose between single fire and bump fire, that's not great if you're out framing. Balance and feel of it, it's just okay. The rafter clip, great idea for innovation, but it doesn't hang real well on anything. If you slide it all the way out hanging on a rafter, it really slides it down into an awkward position that it's hard to get a hold of. If you bring it over where it's a belt clip, again, it's in an awkward spot that it doesn't hook on a tool belt real well. But again, that being said, it fires, and it fires every time without fail, no problem. Now, one of the other, and this may just be unique to this gun, and I don't have any more to compare it with. One of the other issues that we do have with the Metabo in one of our complaints is the battery on it. When a battery on this Metabo gets down to reading half or a little bit less, the gun will shut down. And so I don't know, to be fair, that may be something unique to this gun. It may be something unique to this battery, but it is something that we are aware of, and so we know to charge the batteries every night and be prepared. So I guess in my conclusion and wrap up of all of this, if you're asking me where I'm going to spend my money today in buying another nail gun and rating the 3 battery-powered nail guns that are out there as an option, last place is the Dewalt. I will not spend any more money on one of these Dewalt nail guns. I am super disappointed with it. The gun that doesn't fire consistently, that I can't trust, doesn't belong in our tool trailer. My second from the bottom would be the Milwaukee. While the jams aren't a huge issue with the Milwaukee, and I will tell you the quality of this thing feels amazing, the weight of it, all of us are complaining by the end of the day, whoever's running this, that, you know, our elbows hurt, our shoulders hurt, that it really, really takes a toll on the body having to heft something that, and again, it doesn't sound like a lot when you say, hey, the difference between the Dewalt and this Milwaukee is just under 2 pounds. That doesn't sound like a lot until you've done that 2 pounds hundreds of times in a day. And it definitely, definitely takes a toll. For me, the clear winner in the three is the Metabo, which if a month ago, if you would have asked me who won, this would be the one that I would tell you wouldn't win. Nothing about it feels as high quality as the Milwaukee. Nothing about it is as balanced as the Dewalt is. Some of the features on it I feel are way less well thought through, and everything about it feels mediocre except one thing: it fires every time you pull the trigger without flaw. Its weight is manageable and usable. And for us, that makes this absolutely the clear winner, and the price. You know, there's definitely something to be said when, if you go to buy a DeWalt or a Milwaukee and you're not already using those platforms, that those guns are $400-ish right now in 2024 without a battery and charger. The Metabo, when I checked it last night, is on sale for just over $300, and it includes a battery and charger, and that's fairly substantial when you're looking at guns. So the clear winner for us, the Metabo. If you like this video, hit us down in the comments. Let us know what your experience is. Let us know if there's other tools that you're curious about or wondering, and we'll do our best to run them through the paces. We'll see you next time.